Firstly, many congratulations that this year again many of your students have cleared the CSE 2022.
I'm very pleased to say that there are 4 students in top 50 that have been my optional students, and I'm very happy that this has been our 6th year that I've had 1 student in top 10 and I've had at least 3 in top 50. We will be giving students practice tests so they can opt for test series free of cost with the course. I've seen many people who are engineers who have qualified this exam very nicely with good marks in economics, 280 plus, 290 plus. So economics is all about concepts.
Should optional subject be a subject of your interest or a subject that is popular and trending? Should it be a subject that is quite scoring or a subject with short syllabus? We'll be discussing all of this. And when we talk about economics optional in particular, the one name that strikes our mind is of Vibhas Jha Sir. With more than 20 years of teaching experience, he's here with us today to guide us. A very warm welcome to you, sir.
Thanks a lot. Very good to be here to guide the students, and it's always happy to interact with them in whatsoever way possible, and always good to tell them about the benefits that economics optional can provide to them.
Firstly, many congratulations that this year again many of your students have cleared the CSE 2022 and have secured good rank. So
yes,
congratulations, sir.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. In fact, I'm very pleased to say that there are 4 students in top 50 that have been my optional students, and 17 overall. I'm saying it for only one purpose, so that those who are in doubt about economics optional's capacity should realize that it's a very good subject to take, and most importantly, it's scoring. It's something which gives you enough opportunities, even to excel in other papers, but more importantly, the results are coming. So, I was saying this to my students also who have qualified that, look, your results can actually become motivating enough for others to go for the subject.
Right, sir. So, just to start with the conversation, I would like to know, once a student decides that he or she wants to go for the CSE preparation, then what should be the first step to select any appropriate optional subject?
Right. So, the best way to go about is read the basic books. Mainly NCERTs will do, especially for technical subjects like any economics or say even geography. There are subjects, any subject, even sociology, political science. Important is that you go through the basics, the basic books, see with 2 things in that. One, how much is my understanding of concept? And second, how much is my personal interest in that subject? So if somebody can get 50 to 60% of NCERT, and if somebody can feel that, okay, reading it is not making me feel bored, then that is one step. Second should be that what kind of guidance I'll get. Because sometimes the subject can interest me, but I may not get enough guidance in it. So if I don't have guidance in it, it becomes a problem, because mains optional syllabus is such where you don't have to be a master's, but you need to be assured that there are certain things at master's level also which should be in your grip.
Yeah.
So
in-depth knowledge is important.
Right. So depth knowledge and knowing about the subject properly and certain applications. So then a good mentor can help you in that. And the third thing should be about what kind of reading material I'll get. Because certain subjects, the mentors are there and the subject is good, or people like the subject, but then the reading material is absent, and the mains exam is like at least I can tell you this in optional course, all optional course, not only economics, the syllabus is one aspect. But then the interpretation of that syllabus is very important, because many people go into a lot of details. Like sometimes I see one thing written in the syllabus, but the questions go more in depth compared to what is written in the syllabus. So that I think is a challenge in optional.
And so generally it is seen that the students get confused between 2-3 optionals. Yeah. So maybe they have studied a subject in graduation and interest is in some other subject. So how do they select?
So first, most important is interest. Undergraduate subject, if it gives you interest, go for it. It will always help. But again, as I said, if the undergraduate subject is something where you're losing a lot of marks because you're not getting good guidance or you don't have a lot of material, because end of the day, it's an exam to crack. And if you're interested in a particular subject, for example, for engineers, economics is a very good optional, or for people with maths background or commerce background, it's a very good optional. People with economics background, of course, it's a very good optional. So sometimes it is said that if you're not a master's in economics, you can't do this subject. That's a wrong notion. I've seen many people who are undergraduates qualifying in the first attempt. I've seen many people who are engineers who have qualified this exam very nicely with good marks in economics, 280 plus, 290 plus. So end of the day, I think what's more important is that we focus on what is the subject like.
Right.
And if somebody is interested in a subject, that's a very big criteria, because I always say optional is like marriage. You have to stay with it. You can't choose to quit midway just because you don't like things. So you need to make sure that, okay, I'm liking it, and that liking can be understood just by a little introspection. That when, especially because in the optional, the paper 2 is always application, Indian economy, for example, economics. So if I'm someone who likes doing Indian economy, I like talking about it, I like discussing the topics. Say if somebody is talking about India's $10 trillion economy and I'm liking it, that, oh yes, I would like to know more, then you are well groomed. You might opt for the optional.
So that means, sir, it is completely a myth that you should have economics in graduation, then only you can opt for it.
Completely a myth. As I told you, I've had people with no economics background, people who did not have economics even in 12th standard, but they came along, they discussed things, they studied well. See, because it's a defined syllabus. So, it's a defined syllabus with past year papers. So the steps should be that we do the concepts, cover the syllabus, do the past year papers, see the past year papers, how they are articulated. And then once we have gone through it, then somebody should give us, like in the optional course that we run, we have the test series integrated. And in the test series, what I do is, apart from giving the tests to students, we give them practice tests also. And then I discuss practice tests also, and I write answers on the board, teaching them how you should have written these answers. So in that case, what happens is, now the student is well prepared to write and is groomed in various facets of the subject, that, okay, this is what can be asked, I will answer like this. If this is asked, I'll answer like that. So, then the preparation for exam is complete. What in optional, the mistake that I see many people doing is that they prepare the subject well, but either they don't write, or even if they write, they're not writing exam oriented, that, okay, put me under pressure of 3 hours and let us see what I can write. So all that, if that can be done, I think economics is a very rewarding optional, even for people with no economics background. But yes, one thing it will need is that you should understand your graphs decently, especially linear graphs. Like, you should know that x-axis, y-axis, if I'm drawing a graph, that you should know. But other than that, no prerequisite in this subject.
Sir, it is said that it has very lengthy and vast syllabus. So how true is that?
Yeah, so that's another myth. It's not lengthy and it's not vast, but it's diligent. As in, what you need to do is, you need to be clear on your approach as to what all things you will be touching. But what happens is, the help books in the markets are very thick. So looking at those thick books, people believe that the syllabus must be very vast. But what happens is that most of these help books are by Indian authors, and Indian authors have a habit of repetition. So then the books become very thick. But actually the syllabus can be contained, like we at Next IAS finish it in around 4.5 months. And then the test series, of course, that runs with it. And once you are done with it, then you just have to continuously revise it, and you are in sync with things. So in fact, I'll just take your question further, that people say lengthy, vast, and a lot of dynamism is there, changes every year. So first paper is not dynamic. Whatever you have done in paper 1, it remains the same, because most of the people who have given theories are now dead, so they won't come back and change it. And second paper, India before 47, India before 91 is not dynamic. India after 91 is dynamic. One thing that it needs is continuous revision, which I think any optional needs. That only when you keep revising it, that you keep getting the nuances, the different facets of the same point, and then you become a much more learned answer writer compared to what you are in the first go. But other than that, it's not very lengthy. It's normal in its scope. It's not short. So unlike some options which are very short in scope, it's not short. It's normal in its scope, and it's not vast, and it's not very dynamic. The dynamism is as much as you see in GS paper 3, where you need to keep changing with new government programs and all that you need. It is applicative. So those students who like application, like say, that's why I said that engineers, people with BCom background, people with BA pass course with economics and those subjects. So for those people, it's a very interesting thing, because then the good part about economics is, you remember paper 1 especially, you remember the graph and you can write your own English. So you don't have to mug up anything. And good thing about paper 2 is that nothing is where you have to write thoughts. इन्होंने ये कहा, फिर इन्होंने इसका काउंट, ऐसा कुछ दिक्कत ही नहीं है. आपको करना क्या है, आपको बस ये जानना है कि जैसे ग्रीन रिवॉल्यूशन है, तो क्या है ग्रीन रिवॉल्यूशन, बेनिफिट्स क्या थे, चैलेंजेस क्या थे, चैलेंजेस को सॉल्व करने के लिए सरकार ने क्या किया, आगे क्या किया जा सकता है. सो यू नो इन एवरी टॉपिक यही डिस्कशंस हर जगह है, दैट क्या चीज़ें हैं, नहीं हैं. तो इसीलिए इनफैक्ट अभी भी जैसे मैंने हिंदी में ये बात इसलिए कही क्योंकि बहुत लोग हमें हिंदी में सुनते हैं तो उनको पता चलता है. इवन इन द क्लासरूम आई ट्राई डूइंग इट, कीपिंग थिंग्स बाइलिंगुअल सो दैट स्टूडेंट्स हु कम विथ नॉन हिंदी बैकग्राउंड आर एबल टू गेट एवरीथिंग. और जो लोग हिंदी से हैं उनको भी नुकसान ना हो, उनको सारे कंसेप्ट पता चलते रहें. तो इकोनॉमिक्स इज ऑल अबाउट कंसेप्ट्स. अगर कंसेप्ट क्लियर हैं तो यू आर in a very good, in fact this is one optional I believe from humanities background where you can score as high as 300 in normal circumstance also.
So out of 1750, 500 marks are for optional subject and it is also a deciding factor. How true is that?
Optionals do play a very crucial role. In fact, you know, every optional teacher would tell you that, and GS teacher will tell you that optionals are playing a role where if you are well groomed in optional, then somewhere it is also helping you in your GS. Say take for example if somebody has done economics optional 2 well, किसी ने अगर पेपर 2 अच्छा किया तो GS पेपर 3 में भी इकोनॉमिक्स पार्ट में वो काफ़ी स्ट्रॉन्ग फील करेंगे. इवन GS पेपर 2 के कुछ पार्ट्स में वो स्ट्रॉन्ग फील करेंगे. सो इफ समबडी हैज डन देयर ऑप्शनल वेल एंड प्रिपेयर्ड वेल, देन वेदर इट इज एसए और GS, इवन देयर दे फील स्ट्रॉन्ग. So optional itself is 500 marks, which of course is a big chunk, and then it contributes definitely to your GS, preparation. Like if somebody does economics optional with us at next IAS, then I can give a complete vouch that they don't need to do any GS paper 3 study after that. For economics, we prepare them entirely.
So we are starting with a fresh batch from 17th of August. Please tell us about the course.
So yes, we are starting from 17th August, and I'm very happy that this has been our 6th year that I've had one student in top 10, and I've had at least 3 in top 50. So that gives me confidence that when these kids have done well, तो हम लोग कुछ तो अच्छा कर रहे होंगे, ये लोग आगे के बच्चों के लिए भी कुछ ठीक कर सकते हैं. The batch that begins will have classes 5 days a week in the beginning, then we'll make it 6 days a week. And the batch will cover not only economics optional, it will also cover Indian economic services, it will cover RBI grade B. From this year, I am going to make another announcement that even because English has now been introduced in RBI in the preliminary stage, in economic services it is there. So we will give our students English support also. You know, जिनको English language में कुछ दिक्कत है, उस पेपर के लिए भी हम लोग support करेंगे, कुछ classes उसकी arrange करेंगे, so that students can get that. Another thing that we will be doing is IAS. We will be giving students practice tests, so they can opt for test series free of cost with the course. And they can write their IAS test series package. For RBI, we have prepared around 6 practice papers, which we will be sharing with the students, so that exam में जाने से पहले वो practice करके जा सके. So that way, what we are trying to do is make the course wholesome. For economics optional, what we have done for UPSC purpose, we will be teaching them the entire syllabus that we do every year. I don't even leave a single line in the paper. So we will teach them the entire syllabus, including the test series that will cover the syllabus also. We will also be covering all the past year papers. In fact, through test series, I also cover some tricky questions that can be asked in a different manner. And we will be making sure that they get writing practice by including the test series. So 8 tests and 6 practice tests. So effectively, we will be giving them a pool because 28 questions are there in one test. So we will be giving them a pool of close to 400 questions from economics optional. And I think if somebody practices this, there will be no looking back. Apart from that, my students in economics optional, what I do, they are my children once they are here. So they have my phone number and then they can interact with me, they can reach out to me, ask me their doubts. We will conduct Zoom sessions for students who are online. So offline students of course get the opportunity to ask questions and solve their doubts. But we will conduct Zoom sessions for students who are online to solve their doubts. And I have a team of 3 people who are masters in economics, who have written civil services, appeared interview. So they will be helping the students also apart from me. So we are trying to create a holistic.
So they will act as a mentor for backup support.
They are kind of academic coaches, mentors, who can give backup support, train students if by chance they want an immediate solution. They can train them in that. So our idea is that we keep helping the students. Plus we will also be covering economic survey and budget with the course. So the idea is to give complete support to students, and that is why I take only one batch in 1 year. तो ये एक बैच 1 साल में लेने का पर्पस यही है कि स्टूडेंट्स के जो हमारे पास बच्चे आए उनको पूरा सपोर्ट मैं दे सकूं. और अभी से जो शुरुआत हुई है सपोर्ट की फ्रॉम 17th August goes till next means that we do the hand holding for them, that they should be able to write the next mains, and even beyond that, that uske baad bhi, at next IAS we keep saying that it's a family. So you come back, you solve your things, that will be sufficient for us. But important thing is that initial preparation is very important in optional. So I have designed the course in such a manner that optional students are well prepared. For people appearing economic services and RBI, apart from the optional course, because it overlaps with these courses, we will have around 15 to 20 classes. Classes on linear programming, classes on mathematical economics, classes on micro maths, classes on Indian economy, classes on environmental economics. These classes we will conduct so that we further train them in these subjects. And they do well. In fact, last year, out of 56 students who appeared for interview in IAS, 31 were our students. Yes, so in fact, I feel good, and I inform this to students to tell them that this method has been working for us. That I've been using this method, that okay, train the students separately and give them some guidance, make them write some answers, and it does work good for them. Plus what we do is initially, we start in the first 4 or 5 weeks or 7 weeks, I give 2 questions every week, and then I give them the answers to those 2 questions to train students how to do answer writing. And then gradually I give questions and I expect students to write the answers, show them to me, so that we can train them further. So answer writing is something we cover very diligently.
Okay, so that will go along with the course.
Right. That will go along with the course.
Right. And so test series will happen next year.
True. So for economic services, the test series will be from February. So February, March, April and May. Over 4 months, we will conduct 8 tests, giving students entire opportunity to revise in 15 days, 1 subject, come back, write the test. So they will have 2 full revision of each paper. There are 4 papers in economic services. So 2 full revision on each paper we will give them over 8 tests. For optional people, the test series begins after prelims. Like we give them a break of around 2 weeks after prelims. And I begin by taking a Zoom session where I train students how to go about preparing. Then we give them a practice test. I discuss the practice test online. And then we discuss the test series where they have 10 days to write each test. Again, the purpose of test series is that we give them sectional tests first. They cover the syllabus in sectional tests. And once the sectional tests are done, we give them 2 full-length tests of each paper. So 4 full-length tests. So that way, again, you are revising the course with sectional test. You are revising the course with first full-length test and then the second full-length test. So that means 3 revisions of the course. So even if somebody is writing mains in next year, like some students ask me that, sir, if you are starting in August and you finish in December, when will I revise? You don't need to revise. I'll make you revise. So the entire thing on economics optional can be left on me. I take full responsibility. I'll get it done. Not a problem at all.
Just to score high, what tips you would like to give to these students?
Right. So one is most important, full coverage of syllabus. Sometimes people become selective, thinking that, okay, I'll leave it in choice. But we don't know from which part they will ask a tough question. Now, suppose I've done something good, but that question is tough. And an easy question comes from something that I have left. So, that's a double whammy. तो एक तो कभी कुछ छोड़ना नहीं चाहिए, सिलेबस को अच्छे से पूरी तरह प्रिपेयर करना चाहिए, पास्ट ईयर पेपर्स अच्छे से कवर्ड रहने चाहिए, एंड मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंटली कम से कम 2 से 3 रिविजन होना चाहिए. People should revise twice to thrice. That is the purpose of our program, test series and optional coaching. That 2 to 3 revision is a must that people should do. In fact, what I have planned this year is after every section that we get over, suppose we get over with say a micro section, I will give students an option of writing a test in micro.
Okay.
Macro section, write a test on macro. So in that case, it will be an option to revise.
Yeah, again and again, revision.
So revision is a very big important. Like whosoever has qualified, whether it is Vidushi who has got 13th rank, whosoever I have talked to, all of them have insisted heavily on revision. Even Pranita at 42nd rank. So they have all been our students and they have continuously insisted that revision is the key factor. When it comes.
The students who would be taking the attempt in 24, so they are presently preparing both for GS and for optional. So how do they balance their preparation?
Right. So, being realistic is very important. Like if somebody is planning to opt for economics or start optional in the second half, August, September, October, right now is the time when you should give 6-7 hours to GS, assuming you are taking 2-3 hours of coaching. So your 9-10 hours in a day are built up. So that is one. When the optional coaching begins, then we know that you don't have more than 6 hours to study because 5.5 hours will go in coaching. GS 3 hours, 3 hours optional. 6 hours you are losing like that. And then you are not left with more than 6 hours. So remain realistic. Study for 6 hours for 5 days or 6 days. keep one day, 7th day, where you can study 7-8 hours. Until the optional won't go forever. So optional will be 4 months. So those 4 months make up the mind that we will take lesser offs, we will take the pressure, finish it off, so that by January optional is done. And then I can go back to my prelims. Now my GS is almost done, my optional is completely done. And I can now go into my GS preparation mode from prelims point of view. And from January end, they can always start doing prelims and study 7-8 hours. So again, the requirement of studying 12 hours will not be there if you have prepared diligently in these months. Like normally मैं गलती करते लोगों को ये देखता हूँ कि शुरू में easy लेते हैं और end में जब pressure high हो जाता है तो भागते हैं. मेरे हिसाब से शुरू में भाग लो तो भागना तो end में भी पड़ेगा, but then you will be running for second, third revision rather than running to complete the course. You know, that I think will be a method to take the pressure, absorb it, and most importantly enjoy the process. That I'm learning all this, I'm doing good things. You will feel physically tired, so have your methods. मैं हमेशा सबको suggest करता हूँ that a good hobby that you should have, maybe listening to music, social media, painting, anything, but one good hobby and couple of good people to fall back on emotionally. You know, कि जो emotionally आपको support दे, अच्छे दोस्त हों, parents हों, कोई भी लाइफ में कोई स्पेशल आदमी है तो किसी को, लेकिन आपके कोई ऐसे होने चाहिए जिनको आप दिल खोल के बता सके कि भाई आज बड़े बेकार लग रहा है, आज तैयारी नहीं हुई अच्छे से, और वो भी कुछ आपको जज ना करे, बोले हाँ कोई बात नहीं, कल हो जाएगी, टेंशन मत लो, आराम से पढ़ो. So you know, one place where you can emotionally vent out, and one place where you'd have nothing to think about civils. Maybe you are jogging, you are running, and you don't think about listening to music, watching a movie. कुछ भी इस तरह का जरूर करना चाहिए. So if you do 2-3 hours of this and 7 hours of sleep, then 14 hours is a good enough time to do anything rest of the things. और 14 घंटे, मतलब मैं ये सजेशन अपने स्टूडेंट्स को हमेशा देता हूँ कि लेजर टाइम डिफाइन करो, वर्क टाइम नहीं.
Okay.
You know, ये मैं अपने ऊपर भी अप्लाई करता हूँ. 2 घंटे का लेजर लूंगा लाइफ में, मतलब दिन भर में, और वो 2 घंटे नहीं पढ़ूंगा, नहीं पढ़ाऊंगा, कुछ नहीं करूंगा, और 6-7 घंटे 5 घंटे जो सोने का टाइम मिला वो सोएंगे, और बाकी टाइम दिमाग पे कोई रिस्ट्रिक्शन नहीं, इट्स ऑल वर्किंग टाइम. सो देन व्हाट हैपेंस इज वी आर नॉट कैरिंग आवरसेल्व्स इन साइलोस. ये तो क्या होता है, हम कहते हैं मैं 5 से 7 पढ़ूंगा, अब जैसे ही 7 बजे लगता है हो गया भाई, अब तो टाइम खत्म हुआ. सो आई एम स्टडीइंग. हाँ, मेरे लेजर टाइम पे कोई कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं है. सो इफ स्टूडेंट्स कैन प्लान दिस इन दिस मैनर, देयर विल बी अ लिटिल रन हियर, रश, कभी सीसैट का प्रेशर आएगा, कभी ऑप्शनल का प्रेशर आएगा. पर ये दिमाग में रखना चाहिए कि ये 1 साल का प्रेशर लेने की बात होती है. अगर हम अच्छे से बेस बनाकर 1 साल पढ़ लें, देन फ्रॉम नेक्स्ट ईयर यू आर इन अ शेप वेयर you know things are normal and you may qualify in the first year itself and things are gone. You know, that kind of a thing.
I think so. We have discussed everything in detail. Anything you would like to add in?
I just wanted to tell students that do not think about economics as a very challenging subject. It is not something which is going to trouble you a lot, and we will give you full support as you come along. We will be willing to help you in all the manners. And do not leave economics just because others are telling you not to take it.
Right.
You know, if you have a background in economics, then definitely it's a very good subject. Even if you don't have a background in economics, the subject is very rewarding. So they must go for it and enjoy the process of UPSC. God willing, you will qualify. But more important is that finalize your process. That okay, this is my GS, this is my optional. And August is not late at all. Like sometimes students tell me that, sir, is August delayed? August is not delayed. We will finish your course by December and January first week. And in that case, you will have 1 month where I will guide you how to practice economics optional further. And after January and February, you can go full-fledged into prelims. 4 months will be more than sufficient. And best part is, any help you need, whether you are my student or not, at next IAS, we welcome all of you. That come over, ask your doubts, clear things. We are very happy helping students. The institute is for that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your guidance and support.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. And thanks a lot to all the students. God bless you all.